Hello and welcome to HOLT session at the 14th Annual Girls Inc. Science Festival. I'm Chris Wieters, a recent high school graduate, and I've been involved in Girls Inc. of San Antonio for 4 years. Today I'm talking with Lori Bunger, Vice President of Used Equipment Sales at HOLT. Hi Lori, can we start off by talking about your career journey and how you got where you are today? And given that there are not many women in this industry.
Well, hello, Chris. It's good to see you here, and then whoever else is watching this virtually. Maybe next time we can be together in person. I'll be brief about your first question. So I actually just finished up my 19th year with HOLT. In June of 2001, I graduated college on a Friday up in Ohio, was in a U-Haul on Saturday, drove all the way down to San Antonio, Texas, and I started Monday morning, June 14th of 2001 with HOLT, not knowing a single thing about the construction industry or equipment. I just knew I needed a job out of college. And I started, and thanks to a good work ethic that was instilled in me by my parents, a great culture at HOLT, a desire to succeed, and just being around people. Here I am 19 years later. I spent most of that time selling used equipment all around the world. So I have customers in Australia, in Chile, in South Africa, Europe, just all around the world. We have a really neat department that gets to do global business. And a year and a half ago, I was promoted to Vice President of Used Equipment Sales. And that is where I am today.
There are a lot of STEM components related to your job, knowing how the engine works, economics, and EPA labeling. How do you think this has affected how you approach your job?
So that's another really good question, and I have to be extremely honest when I answer it because I'm not an engineer. I'm not a mathematician. Like, all these things are a part of the job. I think the more solid of a foundation one has in these topics, the better off you'll be. I am a communicator at heart, so I know that where there are gaps in maybe engineering skills or math skills, I surround myself with people who are experts or have natural talents in those sectors. So tell you what'll never go away in any job is technology. You have to be extremely adaptable because things change all the time. I can't tell you how many software programs, how many email systems that have come and gone during my tenure here, and you always have to learn something new. And when you find yourself digging in and being resistant to change, I would just encourage you to take a deep breath and maybe back out a little bit. And you can do it, right? That I remember I used to have a BlackBerry phone that clipped to my, why are you laughing, Chris? Why are you laughing? Do you even know what a BlackBerry is?
Yes.
Okay, so I had a BlackBerry phone that I clipped to my pocket, and I remember saying, I will never text. I'll just pick up the phone and call somebody. That's the much better way to do it. And now all I do is text, right? That everyone will evolve before they reach their technological peak. And that's just one example of how you always have to be able to adapt and change. EPA labeling, a lot of the stuff you learn on the job. No one's going to know what that is or what it does before you get into the industry. So in those spaces where we might feel inadequate with our knowledge, that's again when you surround yourself with people who know. And I have found that most people want to teach you and help you versus the opposite.
What is some advice you share with young women entering a male-dominated profession?
What a fun question. So the advice I give, there's a couple different directions here. I'm obviously in a male-dominated industry. It's construction. I don't even want to guess the percentage of women that are representative of this profession. It's very small. It's very common for me to sit around a table and not have anyone look like me at the table. But at the same time, I never want to exclude males from the solution here. So the best advice I can give to anyone going anywhere is that you need strong people in your corner. And just by default in this particular industry, I have to have strong men in my corner. So some of the biggest cheerleaders in my life have been men that I've worked with, done business with. Years ago, when I got started into sales, I was, I don't know, 23 or 24, and I was quoting equipment to a gentleman in Australia out of Melbourne. And he really didn't know me, had only met me once. He had kids my age, and he gave me a chance. And I started selling him stuff, and pretty soon he was buying millions of dollars of equipment off of me every month. And it was because he trusted me. He gave me an opportunity. He believed in me. And I, in turn, got better, provided excellent customer service, like I did my part too. But that guy helped put me on the map. And it's people like him that came alongside and lifted me up and encouraged me in these spaces. So I think that's probably one of the strongest forms of advice I give, is that you need everybody in your corner to really get where you're wanting to go, to not exclude somebody, to bring in the right people that will help you accomplish your mission, your vision, using your values.
What would you, sorry, who inspired you and why?
So there are probably a couple people that have stood out. I had an aunt. I have an aunt currently. She went to the same school I went to, and she played sports there back in the 70s, right? And women's sports in the 70s weren't really a big deal. And then I went to that same school and played volleyball there. I love sports, okay? I love sports analogies. I love sports documentaries. I'm a competitor at heart, so I really appreciate those things. So she always encouraged me. There have been people in other industries that have been encouraging to me. I'm thinking of one woman right now, Susan Doyle's her name. She worked for Liberty Mutual. She has a real neat story, just came up through the ranks, started as a secretary, and eventually got to a position where she had her own company plane. And it just talked about her stories and her struggles and things that she went through. There's some men on that list. I actually call it my personal board of directors, right? That I have a group of people in my life who inspire me, motivate me, encourage me, that I take time with and am intentional about getting on their calendars so I can grow. And probably one of the largest contributors to my success in this guy inspires me still to this day. His name's Jeremy, and we sold against one another for years. And now he works for me. He is one of HOLT's best gifts, okay? And I left competing against him because it's so rewarding when I won, right? Mm-hmm. But his work ethic, how ethical he was when he did succeed, his desire to teach. He's just been a good teammate, a good brother in ways, and just he helped me bring my A game every day because I knew he was bringing his.
As a female leader, what has been the most significant barrier in your career?
Oh, myself, 100% myself. And if you met me, I don't know if you would say, oh, she's unsure of herself. I don't think that would come to mind. You would probably say I'm confident and sure of myself. But there's this gnome on my shoulder that will tell me, Lori, those people don't think you're smart enough, or Lori, you failed big time in that situation, or Lori, you said something stupid. Like just this cloud of self-doubt that maybe we all experience at some point in time. And the reality is that gnome just needs to die, right? That there's not room for that when you have a mission and when you have a vision of what you want to do. And so I've had to double down on celebrating successes, receiving feedback and criticism in a positive way to where you fall forward, right? I almost enjoy losing and making mistakes sometimes because I know that's what makes you better. if you're constantly winning, you don't really know what to work on at times. And so I never minded kind of messing up. It's just not letting that voice in your head get a hold of you during those times. That's why I always go back to surrounding yourself with really solid people. All businesses are about relationships, and if you get relationships right, the rest will follow. So absolutely myself, and just telling that inner voice of doubt to be quiet, because we really are capable of way more than we give ourselves credit for.
Do you have a favorite piece of equipment? If so, why?
The ones that made the most money, Chris. How about that? When I first started, they wanted me to sell skid steers. So skid steers are like the smallest, least expensive pieces to sell. And I remember I sold 2, maybe my second month. And then the third machine I sold, it was a D8. And a D8's a fairly large dozer. And I'm like, that took the same amount of time as the small one over here. I don't want to do these. I want to do this. And from that point forward, I just spent all my time on the larger side of the product offering from Caterpillar. Callie, I sold D11s all the way around the world, and that's the largest dozer that Cat makes. So specifically, how about the bigger the better was kind of how I approached selling, and it was certainly a lot of fun. I never turned down the small sale. I would go after it, but I found extra joy when I knew you could plow down a building with something that I was selling. That was pretty cool.
Part of your job is being in front of people, from speaking and hosting events to starring in videos for HOLT Cat. We have one here.
Hi, I'm Lori with HOLT. After 19 years of buying and selling used equipment all around the world, I thought I'd take what I'd learned and share it with you. With our team of experts, we'll show you what to look for and think about when buying used equipment, regardless of make, model, or size. Today, we're in front of a 140M Series 3 motor grader, which is a 216 horsepower dirt-moving machine weighing at 44,000 pounds. I'm with my colleague, Richard. How are you doing today, Richard?
Doing well, Lori. How are you?
Doing great. When buying a 140M size grader, you always want to get an inspection. And one of the first things you want to look for on that inspection is tire condition. Today, we have brand new tires to show you. What size tire is this, Richard?
This is a 17.5 tire.
Now, is there another size tire that comes on a 140M size grader?
Yeah, you can look at a 1400 size tire that provides you maybe a little bit more traction, and it's a more narrow tire.
Right, these 17.5 tires are better for flotation. Now, as you can see here, these are brand new tires and they have lots of height on their tread. What would a worn tire look like, and what might you have to consider if you have a worn tire on your grader?
Worn tires, you definitely have to look at the lugs. You got to see if there's chunks missing, big cracks going through them. And then you also want to look right here on the sidewalls of the tire, make sure there aren't any deep cuts in them.
Now, can a customer still operate a machine if there's a gouge in the sidewall?
Yeah, the customer can operate the machine if there is a cut in the sidewall. You just have to check out the depth of the cut, and I believe your local tire manufacturer can assist you in that.
Now, there are 6 tires on a motor grader. Do they all wear the same?
No, the rear tires are going to wear quicker than the front tires are.
So it'd be safe to say you need to swap out your tires on your grader, much like you have to rotate tires on a car.
Exactly.
So a tire on a 140M will cost anywhere between $900 and $1,500. So when you're buying a used motor grader of this size, you'll always need to consider the cost of a tire when you're looking at bringing this to your job site. Should you have any questions about what we talked about today, feel free to call the number listed below. And we'd also love to hear from you. So make a comment on the comment section. Thanks for watching HOLT Used.
How do you prepare to be in the spotlight? Does this come naturally to you?
So yes, actually communicating does come naturally to me. And I can spend a whole lot of time focusing on my weaknesses and worrying about those, or I can spend time honing in on the gifts that I have, and communicating is one of them. I don't do anything to prepare to be in the spotlight other than, you know, you have a really good team of script writers and people to bounce ideas off of. And I still feel incredibly awkward when I see myself on camera. These videos are new. Being in front of people does not scare me or intimidate me in any way. If anything, it's almost life-giving. It gives me energy. I get excited about being around others. And the videos that, I don't know how we're cutting this, either you just saw or you're about to see, those are inaugural pilot videos for our HOLTUse.com YouTube channel. So it's going to be the first of hopefully thousands of clips over the next several years. So it's really cool to be a part of that.
Lori, thank you so much for talking to me today. And thank you everyone at home who tuned in.
Thanks for watching. Thanks, Chris. You did a great job.